if it's all going to go down anyway, I'd rather try.
Right.
I'd rather try. It's not to say that it's all going to, of course it's not going to all, of course it's not all going to work. Of course not. But that's no reason not to try.
Hello, welcome to Movie Town. We are here at the DGA for the Slamdance Film Festival. I'm joined by Courtney Romano, filmmaker, creator of the NonDē 50 Substack Let's Go Again. Thanks so much for joining me on Movie Town.
Thank you for having me.
So, you just got through with Market Monday, where you led this kind of the theme of it was NonDē. And so I guess, what's like the concise thing? Because I think people hear NonDē and they think, oh, is it Dogma 95? Is it this style? But it's kind of a more all-encompassing direction in film. So how do you put it when people say, what is NonDē?
Yeah, when people ask, I start by saying, we say indie for independent, and we say non-D for non-dependent. Now, what does non-dependent mean, right? For the non-dependent film movement, really what we care about is creating a cinema ecosystem that's based on the art, the artist, and the audience, which basically means we take the world into our own hands. We're not depending on someone else for a green light. We're not depending on someone else to give us permission. We're not depending on these structures that we have wanted to rely on and then felt they weren't really there for us when we needed them. So non-dependence is really about focusing on the future we want to build as filmmakers, not just our own careers, but what kind of art do we want to make? And audiences, empowering them, investing in them, and bringing them into part of the process, not as eyeballs, but really as community.
Yeah. And, if people find you, they might find you on Substack and kind of as a writer. But what's your, just to give a sense, what's your filmmaking background? What have you worked on? What have you made?
Well, I've always kind of worked in a non-dependent way. I started out in theater, which is non-dependent, all around. I started out as an actor, and I actually found some success. I did commercials, I did off-Broadway work, and I found in that the pinnacle of success that I really wanted to reach, which was Broadway, when I started looking into the material reality of that, I thought, actually, I think I want to do my own thing. I don't think that's the path for me. It might be for other people, and that's cool, but I didn't think it was for me. And so I started writing, and I started writing, and I had some things optioned, and I had little things here and there, but nothing really progressed. And I came to the point where I realized if I don't do it in the non-dependent way and direct my own work, it's never going to get made in the timeline that I want to make it, which is now. And so
do you have a project you're making now?
Yes.
Yeah.
So in the past, I did a short film. I did a 7-episode series, which is about 47 minutes long total. And right now, I actually have 3 features that I want to make that
That you foresee directing yourself?
Yes, yeah. And they're all written in various stages of distress. And but I do have one right now that I am at the tail end of development, almost a pre-production for, that I'll be making this year.
Awesome. Coming to a film fest, it certainly brings up for me, seeing movies out with people and movies you might not get to see sometimes in theaters on the big screen with an audience. What are the big films for you that you saw with an audience?
Oh, man.
That led you down to be here?
In my history?
Yeah.
In my past?
That you can think of, oh my God, that film in a theater.
Well, we talked a little bit today about the ritual of theater going. And so for me, ritual is about my childhood.
Yeah.
The movies that I saw in the theaters as a kid. I remember seeing Jurassic Park with my dad, and I was really probably too young to see it. But he took me anyway. And I remember being so scared and thrilled and holding onto my dad's arm in the dark and seeing him kind of smile at how scared I was and comforting me. And so, Jurassic Park is not a non-dependent film. Right. It is Hollywood golden era blockbuster. But it wasn't just the fact that that's a great film, but it was the experience of seeing a story that big and looking at life through a lens that big for a kid or for an adult is a beautiful thing. I'm trying to think of
What about a movie you saw that sparked like, okay, I couldn't go make a movie? I mean, you don't watch Jurassic Park and think you can go make a movie on your own. Like, you know, it might create a love for cinema, but what's something that you saw that you thought, oh, I can put something like that together?
That's an interesting question. I mean, yeah, I'm trying to really honestly answer that. I think that the first thing that I saw, I think truthfully, was I did not think I could be a filmmaker. I don't think I ever thought I could be a filmmaker. I didn't really think about it like
Yeah.
that. I wasn't like, you know, you have to do this. It was more like, I need to write. I need to say what I have to say. And all the steps kind of progressed to be like, okay, so if you're going to write this and you're going to get it out there, then you need to be the driving force behind it. When I saw High Maintenance,
Okay.
you know, it wasn't like I was like, oh, that is instilling my love of film. My love of film and storytelling has been there my entire life. I've been putting on shows in my backyard since I could walk, you know, like that's always been part of me. But seeing people do it in a way that at the time felt like kind of lo-fi, like, or not so precious that it had to be done by a studio, but people taking matters into their own hands. You know, back when Issa Rae was doing it, like when she was doing, was it Awkward Black Girl?
Yeah.
Is that what it's called? Those two instilled in me the sense of, okay, maybe I'm not going to be as good as them when I try it, but there's a model that I can practice and see.
Yeah. And, you know, I mean, are you from LA or you
No.
came in? So where'd you come in from?
I flew in from Providence, but I lived in New York for 17 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. And so, I mean, LA, we're kind of a unique, you know, I cover movie going in LA. I talk to filmmakers, programmers, and it's both a really exciting time because revival theaters and micro cinemas are so well attended and talked about, and like the screenings are so much fun, and it just makes you want to go back again. But it is mostly older movies, you know, cult movies. And like, so partly me coming to Slamdance is I want to see some new stuff that gets me excited also, and still have a connection to new stuff. But when I see people's reactions to these older movies, I'm like, is that going to happen, you know, with it keep happening? You know, why are we going back to old movies so much? Or why is that the thing that is getting people excited? You know, I don't know if you feel that or
I think, yeah, I mean, I do. I mean, I feel that personally. When I want to feel good, I want to watch something that's comforting. And sometimes it is Jurassic Park, even though it's not like a comforting film, right? Because I'm thinking about, you know, I think about a lot of times that a film becomes your favorite film, not even necessarily because of the film, but because of the place you are in your life when you come to it. And so I think that we just need more chances to come to films. It's not like they have to be the best ever. I mean, there are some films that I'm one off the top of my head right now is Showgirls. I know, I'm sorry.
it plays a lot still, you know?
You know what? I saw that at MoMI in New York in the Museum of the Moving Image at a showing where people were raucous. In like 2019, 2018. People were having, it was so fun, right? And part of that is the nostalgia for like, I saw that when I was first in New York and I was just making friends and someone was like, you have to see this film. It's so like funny. So there's a lot wrapped up in that, but I think we bring ourselves to films and that's why they become our favorites, is that mix of audience and filmmaker and art, all of that. And so I think if we create more opportunities for that to happen, we will be nostalgic for the films that are being made now.
Yeah. And so have you gotten to see any movies at the fest?
I haven't.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I have kids and I could only fly in for a day.
Okay.
Yeah. But I'm hoping to watch a bunch on the digital.
Oh, right.
Yeah, coming
well,
up.
I can give you some recs. I've
Yes, I would
seen a
love.
bunch that I've loved.
I would love. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. You know, I guess with the NonDē, like, you know, when I've told people about it, there is still like a skepticism in indie film that people have gone through, I think, of being, excited. In the 90s and 2000s, some movies still hitting, and it feels like, well, that doesn't feel realistic, to like go out and actually make any money. If you go spend some money and like get your, there's still that, well, my only chance is Sundance or Berlin or something like, or I have to write a script that gets this attention. Like, how do you deal with hearing that, or like whether you think like that's a reality?
I mean, I think that is so so understandable, so reasonable to be skeptical. I was just having this conversation with my husband. Like, people are skeptical of everything right now, and for good reason. There are many scams. There are many like culty things happening where people, like it is reasonable to have
Yeah.
skepticism.
Well,
And
and I think indie filmmakers, like if you've been around long enough and you've made movies and you've gone to certain kind of festivals, you've been like I've been exposed to so many, s- you know, shady things
yes,
that you do get, you know, not disgruntled, but you get jaded, and so I'm wondering, like, how do you think like NonDē is different?
well, here's the deal. Like, the first question was like, is it realistic to do this? Is it realistic to wait for a big break to come through? Is it realistic to think you're gonna win Sundance? Is it realistic to think that your distribution deal with Sundance, even if it goes perfectly, is going to, buttress the next 5 films? Like, I think there's a lot out of our control, right? And there are a lot of things that we've been packaged to internalize and believe, which is someone else giving me my shot validates me and shows that I'm a good artist and I can do that. I believe, and this is just my opinion, and everyone's entitled to their own. I believe that what makes me a good artist and what validates me is my ability to take big swings and risk creatively and artistically some stuff and iterate. And when I iterate and I look back at my work and I judge it and I critique it and I try to do better because I've made so many mistakes and I will continue to, that is when I actually get good at what I'm doing. Now, there's the financial question, right? There's the economic question. I don't think that it is reasonable, even with, I have a day job. I do a day job for money. I'm not even sure that I'll always like have that day job. Like like what is stable right now? What is real right now? Like I don't mean to be, this isn't a pessimistic thing though,
Yeah.
right? You have two options of looking at it.
Right. You can either hope that AI is going to provide us some good entertainment, or you could hope that you can still watch people.
Yeah, and I'm not, yeah, there's also nihilism,
Yeah.
or there's utopian thinking like we're talking about. If it's all gonna go down anyway, I'd rather try.
Right.
I'd rather try. It's not to say that it's all gonna, of course it's not gonna all of course it's not all going to work. Of
Yeah.
course not. But that's no reason not to try. And in the meantime, learn some things. In the meantime, make connections where maybe you make the money outside of the film to begin with,
Yeah.
but you create an audience and a community that grows with you, so that by the time you get to your second film, your third film, you can make money. You can make a return. You
Yeah.
can, bridge that gap, but we will not know if we can do it until we try to do it.
Yeah. Would you put your movie on Tubi?
I don't know. I gotta make it first. I mean, listen, here's the other thing. I am such an outsider.
Okay.
People are saying things that I'm like, sure, I know. No, I mean, I understand that Tubi's a free platform. I think probably not, because or at least not for a while.
Yeah.
Like, maybe not for a while.
Yeah.
But here's,
I bring it up just because it's like, it's this, there are some weird movies on there, like really independent, like
yeah,
independent movies
yeah.
that seem to find an audience. And it's like it's this weird outside, it also has plenty of Hollywood stuff that you
Mhm.
can go watch. It's got commercials, but it's also like I've found stuff on there. I'm like, is this the real like independent movies?
Yeah.
So it's an interesting time, I guess.
Well, and here's the thing. I would say what's great about non-dependence and non-D is you have options.
Yeah.
You can try that for a while. You can say, I'm not going to try that for 5 years. You
Right.
can say, I'm going to try to get a distribution deal. And if it doesn't, I'm going to go back to theatrical. And then depending on how that goes, maybe I'll go over here. Like, you get to decide because you're not dependent on the system. You're depending on yourself, on a coalition of filmmakers, on a growing ecosystem of people who believe in the same thing. So I think keep all options open at all time and, go forth and try.
All right. Well, Courtney, thanks so much for coming on Movie Town and talking movies with me. Good luck
Thank you.
with your film, and I look forward to what you write next on Let's Go Again.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.